Hi, my name is Ethan Zuckerman. I direct the Center for Civic Media at MIT's Media Lab in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I live here in beautiful Lanesboro, Massachusetts. You'd asked a couple of questions about my work and what I'm doing at the moment. I run an academic research center called the Center for Civic Media. Civic media is the intersection between media and civic engagement and social change. So how are people using media of all forms? Older forms like newspapers and television, newer forms like Facebook and Twitter and blogs, to get engaged with their communities and to try to change things in their communities. So I'm working with students who are studying people using things like Kickstarter as an alternative way to raise funds. I have students who are studying things like the phenomenon of invisible children, which used YouTube videos to try to make people aware of situations in Central Africa. Sure, so I've got a book coming out in early June. It's coming out on W.W. Norton. It's called Rewire: Digital Cosmopolitans in the Age of Connection. A lot of the work that I've been doing over the last decade is about the ways the internet makes it possible to find out about different parts of the world. But the book is also about the idea that the internet doesn't automatically make us global citizens, doesn't automatically give us a rich or thorough picture of the world. And so what I try to do in the book is talk about, if you think it's important for people to know what's going on in other parts of the world, and even more, if you think it's important to know what other people are thinking or feeling and aspiring towards, how the internet might make it possible for us to have much better understanding of what's going on from Africa to China to Europe, and how we could use the internet differently to have a much better picture of what's going on in the world. I think where Twitter gets criticized is that it's simple, it's trivial, it's too fast. Who really wants to know what I had for lunch? I don't want to know what you had for lunch either. I use Twitter as a way of finding interesting stories, many of them news stories from all over the world. I read feeds from about 1,000 people on Twitter. I don't read everything they post, but I try to follow a really interesting mix of people in Berkshire County, people who are involved with technology and social change in the US and around the world. I follow people in countries that I try to pay attention to. And as a result, I get a very interesting picture of what's going on in a country like Ghana or Nigeria from people who are on the ground in those countries talking about what they're interested in and what they're reading. For me, it's become sort of the perfect complement to the daily newspaper. I can see what most people in the US are paying attention to with the front page of a good newspaper like the New York Times. And then I'm able to sort of dive deep locally with something like the Eagle, but then I'm able to get this sort of rich and textured perspective on what people around the world are paying attention to through Twitter. For me, I get a lot of serendipity. I get a lot of unexpected and helpful discovery from paying attention to a very broad range of people.